came across a headline on News BTC that really caught my eye. XRP dominance is surging. The separation from Bitcoin and Ethereum has begun. I've got a lot to say about this one. We'll also be sharing insights from several XRP chart analysts, including one who believes XRP could reach $34. Now, it's just like I always tell you. Not saying for certain it's going to hit that target, this market cycle, but let's be real. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Explosive. Moves like that do happen in crypto. And honestly, if we're talking long-term with no set time limit, it would actually surprise me if XRP never touched $34 ever. That just doesn't make sense to me. XRP is one of the most practical and impactful cryptocurrencies we've ever seen, and in my view, we're still in the early chapters of the crypto story. It might not feel early to you now, but I guarantee if you asked people 50 or 100 years from now, they'd tell you we were. The money that's going to pour into this space over time is going to be staggering compared to what we've seen so far. Like I mentioned in my last video, entire crypto market recently hit a new all-time high of $4.1 trillion before pulling back a bit. That's the total for the whole asset class. So imagine the future, even if it's not that far off, where the total market cap for all of crypto surpasses $100 trillion. To me, that's not far-fetched at all. And when that happens, XRP will absolutely have its share of that pie, which is why the idea that it could never hit $34 just doesn't hold water. Be clear, I'm not a financial advisor and I don't have any professional background in finance. This is not financial advice. Please don't make any investment decisions based on what I say. I'm just a guy who loves talking about crypto and making videos for fun. Have you come across this story making the rounds lately? I wanted to bring it up because it's such an interesting example of an extremely smart person making a call that ends up being way off. Meanwhile, everyday folks like you and me saw it coming a mile away, just knew it wouldn't hold up over time. And sure enough, here we are. Now, it's not this particular headline I'm talking about, but let me read this one to you anyway. This is from Decrypt. Harvard reveals $116 million investment in BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. Now, personally, I'm not exactly over the moon about Bitcoin these days. Don't get me wrong. Still one of my bigger holdings since I first bought in back in 2017. But at this point, it just doesn't excite me much, even if it runs to $150,000 or $200,000 from a percentage gain standpoint. It's not life-changing for me. And honestly, I'm not convinced it'll even get there this cycle. That said, I do want to see Bitcoin succeed. I want the entire crypto market to thrive. So seeing Harvard drop $116 million into a Bitcoin tracking ETF is definitely interesting. What makes it even more amusing is when you compare it to another story that's been making the rounds on social media, one that really puts this move into perspective. This next one takes us back to March 5th, 2018, more than 7 years ago now. CNBC ran a headline that read, "A decade from now, Bitcoin is more likely to be $100 than $100,000, says Harvard economist." I can't remember the exact price of Bitcoin that day, but the big bubble had already burst. We'd just come off the late 2017 peak of around $20,000, and by the end of 2018, it bottomed near $3,200. So yeah, in that moment, I'm sure he felt pretty clever, but looking back now, his prediction aged like a fine carton of milk. It's hilarious. The economist's main argument, and I didn't even bother rereading the full piece, was basically that Bitcoin had no real purpose beyond tax evasion, money laundering, and other shady activities. Outside of that, he claimed there was no actual use case, which, frankly, is nonsense. The reality is that Bitcoin's core attributes have been compelling enough to keep people pouring money into it for 16 years now. And even at the time of his statement, it had already been going strong for nearly a decade. To dismiss that just because the price was tanking in the short term, and to think you know better than the market, is a pretty bold and wrong move. Now, don't get me wrong, the guy isn't dumb. He's a Harvard economist after all. But in this case, that was a really bad take. People like you and me understand this instinctively. Sure, there are cryptos with better technology. That's obvious. Bitcoin is actually the most outdated crypto in existence, simply because it was the first. XRP, for example, outperforms it in every way. But Bitcoin's first mover advantage is a big deal, cemented its position in the market. And here, we are, not even a full decade later. It's comfortably over $100,000. Gotta admit, it's pretty satisfying to see. Alright, let's get into this one. XRP dominance explodes. Decoupling from Bitcoin and Ethereum has begun. That's the headline. And according to the piece, XRP's market influence is growing in 2025, with technical analysis suggesting it's starting to move differently from Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now I have to pause here, because I've been in this space since 2017, through both raging bull markets and brutal bear markets, and I've seen this XRP is decoupling. Its claim pop up countless times on social media. Usually it's based on a tiny window of price action. And then people start projecting that XRP has permanently broken free from the rest of the crypto market. And yes, I get it. A lot of folks want that to be true. But the reality, XRP has always moved in line with the broader market. Now, fundamentals do matter. If they didn't, XRP wouldn't have consistently stayed in the top 10 by market cap for its entire lifespan. Still, when the big euphoric runs happen, fundamentals take a back seat. At that stage, the price action is driven almost entirely by retail hype, not utility. That doesn't mean XRP isn't valuable. Far from it. Utility is what secures its long-term market position. But you're not going to see XRP mooning in the middle of a crypto bear market while everything else bleeds out. It's just not how markets work. Stock market behaves the same way during a crash. Everything drops, even strong companies. Amazon, for example, lost over 90% of its value after the dot-com bubble burst. Despite its underlying business actually improving at the time, XRP's story will be similar. The asset keeps getting better in terms of fundamentals, but it's still going to ride those same boom and bust waves as the rest of the market, and that's totally fine. Now, back to the current situation. The data shows XRP's dominance was around 1% back in November, and now it's closer to 5%. That's a meaningful shift, but recently, the momentum has leveled off, with XRP mostly trading sideways. Yes, it's still sitting above where it was before the July surge, the one that pushed it to a fresh all-time high, but the real fireworks could still be ahead. And honestly, it wouldn't take much for XRP to hit some of those eye-popping price targets analysts have thrown out. I'm not saying it will happen, but it's absolutely within the realm of possibility. Not even a stretch to imagine. Technical analysis of the XRP BTC trading pair and its market cap. Dominance points to a breakout pattern that could shape the next few weeks and months, even as XRP currently tests an important short-term support level at $3.22. According to Analysts' Dark Defender over on X, XRP has been outpacing Bitcoin for most of the period from late 2024 into early 2025. On your screen right now, you can see the XRP BTC 3-month candlestick chart he's referencing. This chart clearly shows a decisive breakout above a long-term downtrend resistance line that's been in place since December 2024, even with Bitcoin smashing multiple all-time highs in 2025. XRP's price performance relative to Bitcoin has held strong above that trend line. This points to a sustained period of outperformance. And honestly, this is exactly what I've been saying since the move began. Back at the tail end of 2024, see where my mouse is right now on the chart? We were scraping along near the lowest valuation XRP has ever had compared to Bitcoin. That was the textbook maximum opportunity zone. Looking back now, it's obvious. This chart covers an entire decade. Every single time XRP's valuation against Bitcoin gets that depressed, history shows it doesn't just recover, it rips higher. Yet right in that moment, you had people screaming that XRP was dead. Internet geniuses, right? Price drops, so the project must be worthless? That's not how this works. And if you believe that, you're doing it wrong. Fast forward to today, we've got legal clarity. The regulatory war on crypto is basically over, and we're deep into a bull market. Given that backdrop, XRP doing well is hardly shocking. Here's where it gets exciting, just from a chart perspective. There's still room to nearly triple against Bitcoin before matching the previous all-time high from 2017. If Bitcoin's price stayed exactly where it is now, that move alone would likely put XRP somewhere in the $8 to $9 range, maybe a bit higher. But of course, Bitcoin isn't staying still. BTC climbs to $150,000, $180,000, or even $200,000, and XRP pushes up to new highs against it, then we're talking about XRP in the $15 to $17 territory. Now, I'm not saying it will happen because I genuinely don't know, but the idea itself is completely reasonable. It's well within the bounds of what's possible in a crypto bull run. No doubt about it. And you know what else makes me think XRP's got a solid case right now? We've got some big OL splishy splashy whales going full aquatic mode. Check out this fresh post from chart analyst Ali Martinez earlier today. 900 million XRP snapped up by whales in just the last 48 hours. And here's the thing, whales don't usually end up on the wrong side of the trade. When they're loading the boat like this, that's a pretty loud signal. Translation, number, go up, my friends. Got another one here from chart analyst Gert van Lagen, and according to him, XRP is primed to take off. He's pointing out that the 7-year double bottom has now broken out. He's comparing the current setup to what we saw back in 2017. For those who can't see the screen, he's saying, we've cleared the neckline, retested it successfully at the blue dot, and are now looking toward a first target near $34. That's based on the 2.0 Fibonacci extension of this double. bottom pattern, which mirrors the 2014 to 2017 move. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, I don't know if we're going to actually hit $34. I'm not claiming certainty here, but the idea itself isn't far-fetched, and that alone is exciting. It's really not asking a lot. For XRP to push into that kind of territory, especially as more money flows into crypto overall. Speaking of which, Gert also shared another chart, this time for the entire crypto asset class. He's spotting an inverse head and shoulders pattern with a conservative target of $9 trillion. We've had a clean neckline retest, and now we're pushing into price discovery. Think about what that would mean for XRP right now. Its dominance sits around 4.78%. Let's round it to 5% for easy math. The total crypto market cap is just under $4 trillion today. If the market doubles and XRP simply maintains its 5% share, that alone would push its price safely above $6, maybe closer to $7. But here's where it gets interesting during peak. Euphoria dominance levels can shift. If XRP's share jumps to 10% or even 15%, now you're talking $12, $18, maybe pushing $20 a coin. This is why I keep saying that targets in the $15, $25 range aren't unrealistic. And when analysts like Credible Crypto or Crypto Insight UK say they fully expect XRP to hit $20, $30 this cycle, I don't think they're crazy at all. I can't promise it will happen. No one can. But it's absolutely within the realm of possibility. So let's just be patient. I really believe this cycle still has plenty left to deliver. The best days are ahead. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say here is financial advice.